All right, all right. Welcome back to another episode of Simply Talking Podcast. I'm your host, Simply Talking, with my co-host, Miss Confidence in the building. How you doing tonight, Miss Confidence?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm surviving in America.
What about you, Victor?
Hey, I'm like my brother over here simply talking. I'm just surviving in America.
No doubt, no
Okay.
doubt, no doubt. All right, well, tonight, Miss Confidence busted out before I even got to say it, but Mr. Victor Jones is in the house tonight. uh, Overcoming obstacles and consistent content creation, a journey of personal growth. So, Victor, you want to give the people a little insight on yourself before we get started?
A little side about me. I've been podcasting, hosted the Liquor Talk podcast. Been podcasting over the last 6 years. Close to 300 episodes. We had like I think 281 just dropped yesterday, and that was a men's only round. So, like I said, consistency has been the key thing, and also just letting people tell their story on the platform, and also you grow with it, and it's like you find to love it. Like I say, you learn to love it because you're making connections. And I've also been I also got a chance to speak at different podcasts and conferences as well. So that's what I'm looking to do, and that's who I am. I'm the man that's gonna bring it on any podcast I come on.
All right, all right. I hear you.
Okay, we about to see if you gonna bring it.
Okay.
Okay. All right. You ready? Simply.
Always.
All right. I guess I'm gonna kick it off, right? Ladies first.
Ladies first.
Okay. So, can you tell us a bit about your background, Victor, and how you got started in creating content?
A little about my background is I'm a HBCU graduate, went to Florida A&M, FAMU in the house. And I always had the knack for wanting to be on the radio, and also I was also sharing opinions and stuff. And one day, someone just told me, "Hey, you should look into podcasting." And I checked out a few podcasts. I saw how they were done, and then that's how I started doing Liquor Talk. There's a long story about how Liquor Talk came to be, but just for the time being, got into it, had two co-hosts during the first two seasons. But then what I realized was if you invite other people from different states onto your podcast, they are more willing to show up for you, and they will give you a better conversation than people within your own city. Not knocking the people in the city, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, in my experiences, I've invited people in the city. They just then they make up 50 million excuses of why they can't show up. But someone
Mm.
not in the city, hell, somebody 100 miles away, they show up. I send them the link, they're ready to go. So
Well, it seemed like always the strangers always supporting more than your friends.
Pretty
yeah,
much, right?
that's crazy. And the other crazy thing is always supporters from far away that give you more positive feedback. It's people within your friend circle. Some of them give you positive feedback, some don't give any feedback. But your family members, the family members give negative feedback. And that's how I really knew that podcasting was really for me, because I didn't really give a damn about the negative criticism of that I got from my family, because they gave me negative criticism back when I was doing YouTube videos in college, you know what I'm saying? So, but when I showed that I'm still gonna put this out no matter what y'all think, that's how I knew that okay, we got a thing going.
Because
I
they don't
feel
want they don't want you to talk about them. That's why they don't like it.
If they listen, but if they listen, I'm like, I'm not airing out y'all dirty laundry, and I don't even be around the family enough to know what's going on with y'all. I know what's going on with y'all, but I'm not gonna air it out because I haven't been around y'all that much, because I don't need to feed off that energy y'all bring.
Salute, salute. All right. What are some of the biggest obstacles you face in content creating?
Some of the biggest obstacles I faced is just sometimes it's people. I feel like sometimes, like I said, going back my first couple of seasons, it was helping on my co-host at the time. Sometimes I had a co-host where we say this day is set, but yeah, then they'll come up with some last minute thing. Hey, I can't do it today, or something like this, or the co-host show up, but they use the excuse of being tired, or you know what I'm saying, being really tired. And I'm like, if you're tired, it's no problem to reschedule. But and that's why Demetria said she was gonna be cranky. I'm like, you don't look cranky to me, because I've seen a co-host just half-assing it, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, you're not really bringing that to the conversation. And then I'm getting complaints about it from people on social media, which turns out they were looking out in my best interest. And that's where you had to learn to decipher whether it's criticism or whether they're looking out for you. So I would say the biggest obstacle is overcoming people, because sometimes, and even podcasters in other places, sometimes you'll get discouraged by getting a negative response from them, because sometimes they don't. Now, what I've learned is sometimes it's like they'll come up with the dumbest excuse of why they can't collaborate. Like, oh, we all have families and stuff, or I need to be prepped or something. They can come off as rude, and you overcome them, and you just find somebody else, because if one ain't one to go, someone else is ready to go.
Simply, I think you might got a good co-host over here.
No doubt, no doubt.
That's why I say people that have podcasts that have good co-hosts, don't take them for granted. Now, I will say shout out to my fellas, because whenever I do my men's on round segments, they always ready to go. I'll give them that.
What you saying? Women we come slagging?
No, I didn't say this ain't nothing about the women, but I'm just saying this fellas, because I usually have my men's round talks and stuff, and they usually ready to go.
You need some more women.
Got you.
Okay, so let's kick into the next question. How have you managed to stay consistent with your content creation despite all of these challenges that you're going through?
I just think about the vision. I just think about the bigger picture. I just think about using this as a ticket as to way out of the 9-to-5 life, the life you want. You know what I'm saying? I just think about it as the ticket, because all it takes is one person to hear that podcast and really believe in you, and they really want to fund the vision, and you know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? And you're not living 9-to-5, you're doing what you really want to do. I said, for me, I love to take the show on the road and do this in person. And according to people, there are a lot of resources to find the backing and stuff. So that I will be diving into like later this year and stuff, figure out these resources and learn how to pitch and stuff. So it just hadn't really come to me yet, but it's coming.
No doubt, no doubt. Can you share any specific strategies or techniques that have helped you overcome obstacles?
It gotta be your mindset. You gotta have an unstoppable mindset. You gotta say, no matter what, this episode is getting done. You know what I'm saying? That's the biggest thing for me, is I had to tell myself, I don't give a damn if I gotta find somebody else to get on this podcast. We getting this podcast done, and we're gonna get these episodes done. We're gonna have them scheduled out, you know what I'm saying? And we're going to get these episodes done. And I just really feel like if you tell yourself that and you believe it and you put that work in, the episode's gonna get done.
Okay. All right. So I see you got a lot of energy. I like that. That energy, keep it going. So with all of that energy, what motivates you to just keep pushing and, creating the contact even through these difficult times?
What motivates me to keep going is one better. That's it. It's just because sometimes in life, it's just the only way it gets better if you just keep going, if you just keep pushing. And that's the biggest motivation, is just wanting better for yourself and wanting better for the future. Now, I don't have any kids yet, but whenever that time comes, I want to have something I can pass down to them, and I want better. I want them to have to see me struggling, you know what I'm saying? So that's the biggest motivation for keeping going, because it's like, and also for all the other podcasters that then stopped after 6 or 7 episodes too.
You want one of my kids? I'll give you a kid.
The way the economy looking right now, I am good on kids right now. The way the economy looking.
I mean, they cook and clean.
So, have you ever experienced any creative blocks, and how do you overcome them?
Yes, I have experienced some creative blocks. It's like I will listen to somebody's podcast and I'm like, what the hell am I gonna talk to them about? And sometimes I've powered through those creative blocks. I just had to play back some of their episodes and figure out what did they like to talk about and figure out a way to make them feel comfortable and also how I get through my creative blocks is sometimes just taking a break from it, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I'll just try to make sure I have enough episodes um ready to go so I can just take a break if I need to.
Gotcha. So you do a lot of pre-recording.
Yeah, I try not to do the pre-recording, but sometimes you have to because of the creative blocks. But the only thing I hate about pre-recording is sometimes you get that itch to get on the mic because someone on social media done said something stupid or you done heard something that on podcast that you really want to follow up to. So
True that.
Mhm. Okay. So how you balancing your personal perspectives with your audience and expectations in your content?
I balance it out just by just doing it, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, just get these episodes done and we'll deal with the feedback later, you know what I'm saying? I take the good feedback and I listen to the bad feedback, but I don't let it defeat me because I know some people that they will get discouraged if they get some negative feedback. I'm like, this, and I already know this. I said to myself, this podcast ain't for everybody, and I'm okay with that. There's millions of podcasts out there, you know what I'm saying? All you need is like one or two people that are rocking with you, and you're gonna be good.
Mm-hmm. That's a fact.
Facts,
Can you,
big facts.
can you share any tips for maintaining self-discipline and staying consistent with content creation?
It just goes back to what your vision is, what your vision goals, and what do you see for yourself. Like if you see yourself not struggling, not working 9 to 5, if your dreams is bigger, I gotta say you gotta look at your dreams. You definitely gotta look at your dreams, look at the lifestyle you want, and then you gotta say to yourself, you gotta get up and do this episode. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's a content creation or whether it's a podcast, whether it's a TikTok clip or whatever it is, you gotta tell yourself, you gotta find a way to do this if you want better for yourself because insanity is just doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And sometimes we gotta change up our results because I've seen some people saying, I want this, I want that, I want this, but what are you doing towards it? Like I don't see no creation, I don't see nothing on your social media pages. What are you doing towards it?
Gotta put in that work. Gotta put in that work.
A lot of work.
Yes, a lot of work.
hmm So, are there any specific incidents where you have adapted or changed your approach to overcome challenges in content creation?
Um, I will say an incident that happened to me was, which was it was going to be for the season 5 premiere of Liquor Talk, and I contacted some people from South Florida. Now Florida's my home state, and they were just like, "Oh, we got family, so we can't schedule that far in advance." But I could have allowed that to discourage me, but I was like, you know what? Okay. I just played it cool. I said no problem. And I just reached out to other people that did show up. So my biggest thing to tell people is if one person says no, don't be discouraged. Just take the no with a smile and keep moving because there's someone else within that same state, within that same vicinity that will say yes. Because if you look at it, it's them missing out on the opportunity to network and connect with other podcasters and to connect with other audiences as well. It's them missing out on that spotlight. So it ain't necessarily you. So I just learned to take things with a grain of salt and keep it moving.
On to the next.
I know that's right.
Mhm.
So, with that being said, how do you handle criticism or negative feedback while staying focused on your goals?
I just look at who it's coming from. Because if it's coming from a family, I'm like, okay, what are y'all doing with your life? You know what I'm saying? Or because I got some criticism from a cousin of mine the other day, like at a family event last right in December. And in my head, I'm like, but what the hell have you done for your life? And why is one of your daughters out here having babies, but no man putting a ring on her? I could have spilled that tea in that. I spilled that tea on here. I ain't say that to them in the moment, but I'm like, I can clap back at your ass if I want to, you know what I'm saying? I don't, because I'm just thinking about the bigger picture. And also a book that changed my life that will help you think about that is a book called The Art of Not Giving a Fuck, you know what I'm saying? Because that will challenge you, that will hone in on not clapping back. But if somebody within the content community, if I see a fellow content creator give me some feedback to help me out, I'm gonna take it with a grain of salt because hey, you in this game with me, you know what I'm saying? And you looking out for me. We trying to win. You don't see us as a competition because there's enough bread for all of us, you know what I'm saying? And if you offer me a place because you see something in me and you want the best for me, that's why I take it as. So I would rather listen to somebody with a podcast who's been there, who's elevated and who's trying to help me elevate. And also, I had a friend of mine for that same season 5. He challenged me to get better because what he did was he brought some people to the studio. We didn't now, me and my buddy who owns the studio didn't know this, but he brought his family and a few of his co-workers all to see it. So the season 5 premiere turned what I thought was just going to be a online only edition. We had a few people in the studio, but now it turned to a live studio show. So he challenged me to get better. So, and I appreciate him for that, you know. So even though me and him don't really talk that much because life didn't happen, but he always has he's solid with me, you know, for that.
Well, you clap back on your cousin, so tell him to go put a ring on your daughter's head. Okay. So have there been any significant mindset shifts or changes that have contributed to your ability to overcome challenges in your content creation?
I will say the what challenged me to shift it was doing a show without my co-host. And I will say I was episode 34. I told my one guy friend to come over, one of my friends to come over. I didn't tell my co-host about it. I just gave it a test run. I said, not knocking her, but it goes a lot better if I just do this myself. And it's like sometimes it's like a Madea movie. Like I could do bad all by myself. And in that moment, I realized, look, I can do this without you. I'm looking to include you because I'm loyal. You know what I'm saying? I'm loyal to the wheels fall off, but I can do this without you. And that's how the confidence in myself had to come about. Like, you can do this without him. You just got to figure out the technology part.
Hey, simply, I knew his co-host was a female. That's why he ain't got her no more. You heard he came out with her.
Uh-oh.
Yes, I did have a lady co-host back when Liquor Talk was in this double digits. You know what I'm saying?
Well, don't worry, too bad I wasn't your co-host.
Yeah, I never had a bad co-host, and they both was females. So
yeah, Miss Alizé is tight. She's good people.
So can you share any stories or times when persistence and consistency paid off in your content creation?
I would say the persistence and consistency paid off when I went to the Afros to Audios podcast conference back when I was in Philadelphia, and people will recognize me and say, "Hey, you're Victor from Liquor Talk. Hey, I listen to your podcast. Hey, I want to collaborate with you, man. You have a great podcast and stuff." And then you got to meet a few people that you did a podcast with, that you did multiple podcasts with. I'm like, oh shit, I need to be going to more of these podcasting conferences. That was like, damn. I done showed up here and these people know me. And on top of that, the second day I was speaking and I had a room full of people. I'm like, wow, we in here. And it was your own people, mean fellow melanated people too.
Wow. Cool.
Okay. I like that. How do you manage your time effectively to ensure consistent content creation?
I just map out which days. Now it helps that I'm working independently and stuff, and I know how to schedule. I know how to maneuver time. So, like, if I know if I got a guest on the West Coast, I know for sure I gotta tell my bosses, hey, I can't work late tonight. You know what I'm saying? So, also I center around my life around the jobs, not around jobs, but the podcast. So, we keep talking about times and stuff. I make sure I find that right time, and I'll go ahead and block it out and make sure I'm in place so that way we can gonna get these episodes done, because it's like never again. Well, I've made that mistake a few times of letting a job dictate to me, and that's why me and the first co-host kind of butted heads, because when I was available, and it was like I was working a job where I was only available 2 evenings at a time, and it's like the co-host couldn't show up for those evenings. So, words to the wise: if you're gonna podcast, don't take a job in the midday, like a 3 to 11 shift or 2 to 10 shift. You know what I'm saying? You need to make sure your evenings are free, because most content creators are available in the evenings.
Yeah,
That is facts.
that is true. So, what role does experimentation and trying new things help in overcoming challenges and staying consistent with content creation?
You just gotta try new things, like I said, because the first couple seasons I was trying out different people. I was trying out different coworkers. I was trying, like I said, but then once I discovered, and I discovered these streaming apps where you can record with people in different places. I experiment with them, and you got to find which one works for you. You know what I'm saying? And you just got to keep testing which ones work for you and stuff. And like I said, like y'all using StreamYard, I use StreamYard as well. And that just, once I learned how to work it, we just took off from there. But really, what really started the guest boom was learning how to use Anchor first, back when Anchor had back when Anchor was, before it became Spotify podcasts, Anchor had this record with friends feature where you can literally just talk on the phone with somebody and they're recording it, and you just figure out what works.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, can you provide any advice for aspiring content creators who are struggling with maintaining consistency and overcoming some of their obstacles?
Remember why the hell you got started. You got to remember your vision. You need to remember your why for starting this, because there's a reason you want to start this thing. And I need you to remember that reason. Maybe you want a better lifestyle for yourself, or maybe you just want to have something to be proud of. But you got to remember your reasoning for it. And also, to the ones that haven't got started yet, don't start something you can't maintain, because this content creation is not for the weak.
Facts.
That's a fact. You got to put in the work for real. So, how do you measure success and progress in your content creation efforts?
I measure that by the fact that whenever I go somewhere, people recognize my voice and they know it's from the Liquor Talk, you know what I'm saying? And to me, I say success is people showing up for you and you getting your episodes done, because at the end of the day, and also what a successful podcast look like to me is someone that's been consistent. Sometimes you get caught up in the numbers, but you can't really get it caught up all in that, you know what I'm saying? Because the numbers can be deceiving, So, and plus the numbers, if you look at them hard enough, they will discourage you.
So let me ask you a question before she asks that next question. So Liquor Talk Podcast, are y'all some alcoholics, man, or what? What's going on, man?
Man, we versatile.
No doubt.
Some episodes, yes, we pointed up, and then some episodes we're not really drinking. It just depends on the guest, because I've had plenty of guests tell me, "Oh, I don't drink." Respect. I'll just put the alcohol up. You tell me you don't drink, okay?
You ain't asked me if I wanted to drink.
Well, I didn't. Okay, my bad. Now that one I slipped up on, because I was reading, so I'm like, I'm not sure if she drinks or not, because I know you said you tell your story. I'm like, Yeah, I'm not sure if this alcohol is appropriate for this storytelling.
No, it wasn't. But I'm not a big drinker. So, you ready for the next question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are there any specific tools or resources that have been instrumental in overcoming obstacles and maintaining consistency for you?
I would say the biggest tool is social media, like going into the Facebook groups. You never know what happens if you say, "Hey, I'm looking for guests." Topics can be determined. Just say you're looking for guests. You will have hella people coming in your DMs trying to be on that podcast. That's what really opened up the floodgates and made me realize, okay, I don't need a full time co-host. Not when y'all got hell in my DMs crowding up with people trying to be on the podcast.
That's true.
Listen,
Don't be putting us co-hosts down.
listen. There's
But you're a host. You're a host on your own podcast. So what are you talking about? You just a
But
co-host over here.
I'm your co-host.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm messing with you, Victor.
yeah, but like I said, you listen to episodes 1 to like episode 280 something. It's like a night and day difference.
Uh-huh. You gotta have that energy, that spunk.
No doubt. So how do you handle setbacks or failures in your content creation journey? And what lessons have you learned from them?
The biggest lesson I learned in all this is just to keep going. Even at the biggest setback I did have was a co-host just telling a long ass paragraph telling me about myself. And I'm like, in my head, I'm saying these are all things that we could have talked about, you know what I'm saying? And I learned from that is you got to have chemistry outside the podcast. You got to try to have that chemistry, that camaraderie outside of the podcast. You got to be spending time with each other outside the podcast. But that was just a minor setback, and that just told me you got to find a way to keep going. And that really tested whether or not you serious about it. Because if she gonna get to you, then imagine what everybody else is gonna say. Because people gonna come for you no matter what. It's just up to you to either ignore them and keep going, or just let them win. And you let them win if you stop what you're doing, because it's like everybody get criticized no matter what. You know what I'm saying? And like I said earlier, this podcast ain't for everybody.
Nope.
Because I get on I get on his damn nerves.
Nah, you good.
We probably get on each other's nerves, but we do talk all the time, and we practice. I mean, not practice, but we communicate a lot. So, yeah, he the man. Okay, can you share some strategies for maintaining a positive mindset and staying resilient in the face of challenges in your content creation?
Like I said, some strategies I use is you just listen to other people's podcasts, like listen to what your buddies are doing. Like I said, listen to people that you done had on the podcast, listen to their shows and figure out what they up to and stuff, and check in on their pages and look at what they're doing. That's just the way to keep you going. You know what I'm saying? That should challenge you to be like, okay, this is what they're doing. We need to be doing this over here. So that should challenge you to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you find a balance between pushing yourself to overcome obstacles and avoiding burnouts or overwhelming yourself?
That's what sometimes you gotta take breaks, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, I know for the last few summers I've taken a break after the season finale. I've taken a month or two break, and sometimes that break might only be a month because you'll get that itch to get back on the mic. So I would say just take periodic breaks and stuff. Make sure you're not wearing yourself out.
Okay, we need to take a break simply. Can you talk about the role of community and support in your content creation journey?
The role of community is definitely having podcasters to bounce ideas off of, and people just to keep you going, just to keep encouraging you, to people to keep you going. So like I said, I'll say shout out to the community, because sometimes I'll be having a down day and I'll get a DM from somebody like, hey, I'm a huge supporter of your podcast. you really enjoy it. I hope this really uplifts you. So sometimes just getting that just keep you going. You know what I'm saying? Be with somebody that's not in your city.
Mm-hmm.
That.
So, what long-term goals do you have for your content creation, and how do you plan to overachieve those obstacles?
Like I said, the biggest long-term goal I have for my content creation is to be doing this on the road and to, you know what I'm saying, to make sure that this is my way of income from now on. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to count on a 9-to-5 job. I think that's my biggest goal. And I know it can be done because I've seen other podcasters do it. And I've seen I've heard stories of podcasters being able to live off sponsorships.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
that's a fact.
Facts. Mm-hmm. Okay. How do you stay inspired and find new ideas for your content on a regular basis?
I stay inspired by the situation. I just look at the situation I'm in. You know, I look at, you know what I'm saying? I stay inspired by the fact that I still gotta have a 9-to-5 job since the independent job ain't really booming. I'm still going to the 9-to-5 job, and I'm like, that's inspired me to keep this thing going because it's like you don't want to be at the 9-to-5 job for the rest of your life.
Yep, and when you quit and give up, that's when it be right there. It be right there on ready for you to step up and take that step, and then you be like, "Man, I'm tired of this." And like, damn, all
Yeah,
that content on the waste.
Boom. All over.
like that.
Yeah. Can you share any rituals or routines that help you stay motivated?
Now, sometimes for certain episodes, like sometimes I will play play a few songs, and then I will definitely take a shot of whatever I'm like, whether it's brown or whether it's white. I'll take a shot and it'll get me going. Now, some episodes I might just play the song and it'll get me going. You know what I'm saying? So,
Well, what kind of liquor you drink? What kind of brown you drink? What kind of white you drink?
for the browns, it'd be like the cognacs or the rums. The white lately has been a lot of tequila because I've been having a lot of tequila drinkers come through the podcast.
You don't be cutting up, do you?
Sometimes it depends on the vibe. It depends on the vibe. It depends on the conversations. There's some podcasts you can tell the ones you need to be serious with and the ones you need to cut up with, you know.
No doubt.
Okay.
This
Well,
the last question, ain't it?
last question, and we freestyling it, right?
Okay.
Okay. What impact has consistent content creation had on your personal growth and development?
Being consistent forced me to be consistent in other areas of life. It forced me to get out of my shell, get out of being an introvert, and go to like different events within the city and stuff, and just go present myself like, hey, I'm a content creator. And what I found is sometimes people be subscribing right there on the spot. You know what I'm saying? And like it just forced me to really get out in whatever city I go to, and also plan to be at different podcasting events like throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Have you been to Podcast Movement?
I was looking to go to that, but them tickets are kind of steep.
Well, you know they do payment plans. I went to the one in Vegas. Some good stuff. Yeah. That's how I hit 100 followers when I got my first 100 in Vegas. But they coming to DC, simply. We should think about going. I think in August.
Okay.
Wow. Because I think it's DC. I think one year they were going to go to Los Angeles.
Well, Vegas was last, and then I think they did Detroit, and I think it's August they coming to DC in Oxon Hill, where the MGM is.
Gotcha. Well, Victor, do you want to give out all the your platforms where you have the Liquor Talk podcast at? Before I ask you these, I got 10 questions that I asked, and you can answer them as fast as you can, or however long it take. But yeah.
Okay. For people that want Liquor Talk, it's Instagram Liquor Talk podcast. Whether it's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. It's Liquor Talk. You should see the purple logo.
Got you. All right. You have any questions before I ask these 10 questions, Miss Confidence?
Nah, I'm ready. Victor, some good stuff. Good stuff. And I can't see him being an introvert though. He had to get out of being an introvert.
That happened. That happened before college.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that? Why were you an introvert? What caused you to be an introvert? I want to know. You ain't like people. Childhood trauma.
Childhood trauma, always getting picked on, and not having a parent tell you to stand up for yourself.
So you were bullied?
Yeah, I was bullied. I wasn't always the size, but yeah, I was bullied, and I was always teased. I was always the new kid because by the time you got, by the time you got comfortable with one set of kids, mama lost her job or something happened. We got to move again, and we got to always keep moving. By the time you get comfortable and you're not really being teased so much, now you got to go be the new kid all over again.
Was this part of the creation of the podcast?
No, the creation of the podcast happened after college. That's my childhood had nothing to do with what Liquor Talk came to be.
Okay.
Got you. All right. Number 1, childhood celebrity crush.
Ooh, childhood celebrity crush. I gotta go with Beyonce.
Beyonce. Okay. How old are you? I might ask you.
I'm 33.
Okay.
Beyonce. Okay. Yeah.
Right. Who would you trade places with for a day?
Who would I trade places with for a day? I'm gonna go with Cat Williams.
Cat Williams.
Oh, that's a good answer.
Let me know all the tea on everybody just for a day. So when they come at me, I'ma air your asses out.
Cat Williams.
I would trade places with Cat Williams too. I ain't even gonna lie. He rocked the internet.
He took the internet down.
He took it down.
Guilty pleasures.
Guilty pleasures. Oh, I haven't had any guilty pleasures lately. I don't know. I guess just sipping and playing video games. That's been a guilty pleasure because it's like, you know what I'm saying? You don't really get out that much to be having these guilty pleasures.
Gotcha.
You got a PS5 too?
Yep.
Biggest risk you ever took?
The biggest risk I ever took was committing to do the podcast without co-host. That was the biggest risk because I'm like, what if this doesn't work out? What if I can't get people on the regular? What if I can't get people to come through on the regular?
Simply, was that your phone?
No, ma'am.
My bad.
Whose phone was it? That was your phone, Victor.
I put my phone on Do Not Disturb, but I don't know how to help.
I thought it was Simply because I was gonna get him because he jumped on me about the cell phone. So
not this time. Best compliment you ever got?
The best compliment I ever got was your podcast is amazing. You are doing your thing with that podcast. That's the best compliment I ever got.
What never fails to make you laugh?
What never fails to make me laugh? I'm about to go a TV show, Family Guy.
Oh yeah,
good one. Good one.
Worst piece of advice you ever got?
Worst piece of advice I've gotten was stay with a toxic person just to hit it.
What?
From a female friend.
Somebody told you that.
Yeah, and this was a female friend. This was a female friend I was very close to in college. Like, they were like, just stick it out with this chick just to see if you can smash. And that's when I learned. Yeah, and that's when I learned that, you know what, some things you just gotta go with your gut on. If your mindset is cut this chick off, cut this chick off. Don't be going to other people for advice, because they will give you the worst advice.
Oh, I got a question. Did you smash or she act crazy?
I didn't smash. I got annoyed with her because it was just I'm like, to hell with you, because I'm like, you're asking for me too much. You're like, your daddy was always giving to your mama, and you're expecting that out of me. No, you're just felt like you always asking for something, every time I talk to you, and I ain't really getting no love or no nothing. You ain't showing me that you care about me. I'm like, no, you out of here.
Yeah,
Was she trying to get her nails and hair done?
And also asked me to give a ride to places. See, this is the downside of college when you have a car. Now everybody calling you asking for a ride, and nobody want to give you gas money.
That's even if you don't go to college.
That's true.
Something you wish you was better at.
Something I wish I was better at. Ooh, that's a good one. Something I wish I was better at. What's something I wish I was better at? Oh, not procrastinating.
I could dig it. Who would you like to be stranded on a desert island with?
A beautiful woman.
And last but not least, tell us something we don't know about you.
Something y'all don't know about me. I like to smoke cigars every blue moon. I'm learning how to become a cigar connoisseur, you know what I'm saying? Besides the liquor as well, you know what I'm saying? But everything in moderation, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not out here being a drunk or smoking a cigar every day, y'all. Everything in moderation.
Now, what's in those cigars? Regular tobacco or the wacky tobacco?
Regular tobacco. I haven't. I actually had somebody on, a weed connoisseur. I had them on during seasons. The last season of Liquor Talk. That was a really good conversation. I might have to have that lady on again.
Wow. I'd like to have one of those people on.
I'm about to say, you sound like you like that.
No doubt. All right. Well, this was an awesome interview, man. I definitely appreciate you coming up and bringing Liquor Talk Podcast over to Simply Talking Podcast, so we can, get a view. So you get a view of us, we got a view of you, and got a little insight from you, and learned a lot. And I'm gonna take it from there and let Miss Confidence finish this out, and we out of here.
Okay, so make sure that y'all go to YouTube and like, share, and subscribe to Liquor Talk Podcast. Make sure you go to YouTube and like, share, and subscribe to Simply Talking. Make sure you go to YouTube and like and share, subscribe to Unfiltered, Unspoken Podcast. Come out and support. It is for free. And Simply, thank you for just letting me be myself, and I made it through the show with my sinuses acting up, so I made it not being cranky. So
You ain't had no boogers or snot coming out your nose.
You ain't see me taking the nap and going like this because I ain't want to blow my nose. So I'm over here like this,
It's all good.
I got the little sniff. I got the little sniffles. But
hey, I done podcast sick before too, so I feel you.
Yeah. But
I know
thank
me.
you, thank you, Simply.
No doubt. I'm about to be on my Russell Simmons. Thank y'all for coming out. Good night.